uncertainty increases dopamine. Uncertainty. The reward has to be predicted. If the reward becomes assured, then dopamine is like, I'm not interested in this anymore.
Okay, you're blowing my mind right now. Alexandre Stipanovich is one of the most curious people you'll ever meet, with one of the most unexpected career journeys you'll ever hear. A neuropharmacologist published for his research on addiction, Alex went from postdoctoral work at Yale and Rockefeller Labs to launching an independent record label, producing cultural programming, and running a boutique agency.
Failure in the creative industry, I think, is very interesting because we are focused on success.
Today, he's the founder of Cascades Analytics, a consultancy at the forefront of psychedelic science and the neuropharmacology of consciousness. From a neuroscience perspective, what is actually happening in our brains when we experience failure?
Dopamine dip, serotonin dip, and then a peak of cortisol, which is the stress hormone, because it's survival threat.
In today's episode, Alex explains the neuroscience of failure and what science can teach us about creativity, ego, and our ability to bounce back.
Dopamine is not peaking when you are about to win. Dopamine is peaking when it's like...
You could lose it all.
So there is this excitement.
What does that say about us?
It says that we have to read the signals that are gonna predict success.
Alex, welcome to Fail Up.
Well, thanks for having me.
You're so welcome. I'm so excited for this chat. It's the one I know the least about. So I'm just going to say as little as possible. I always just start with a little bit of how you and I met, obviously, was on your I met you on your creative detour. What was your recollection of that, of our time together? It doesn't need to be like the first day.
Oh, no, I remember the first day we met. Yeah,
really?
I knocked at this magical door. Is it 9-1? No,
611.
611.
611 Broadway. Iconic address.
And
changed our lives.
Pretty much, for the better.
Yeah.
I knocked at that door or rang the bell that day, and you came in. You were like, I don't know. You seemed very. You were enjoying what you were doing. I felt is that what's happening here? And and then the interview happened, and.
Did I interview you?
No, was it the onboarding? Probably onboarding. Or maybe you...
Maybe I did interview you. I might have been I would have been a part of that. No, it was amazing. And then you came into Chandelier, obviously, and, you started all this cultural programming for us, which at the time was pretty revolutionary for agencies. I feel like now so many of them do these sorts of events. But at the time, no one was really doing that, right? Felt new anyway.
Yeah, it did. I did. All Day, Every Day was kind of a precursor on
All
that.
Day, Every Day, of course, yeah. And did you work? You worked there as well?
Yeah.
That's right. They were kind of the first people to do that, yeah.
And content, this magical word, was trying to find its way with, to how to give depth to branding.
Yeah.
Basically. Do
you want to just explain quickly what the salons were, just so people know what we're talking about? The Chandelier salons?
The salons, yes. For me, the idea was I left the lab life, which wasn't very much a life. It was, more like a submarine discipline with very, very few interactions, human interactions. Your main interactions were molecules. And after 6 years, I wanted to go into the world and brush shoulders with... fascinating people. So that's why Embark decided to do this kind of cultural events. And Richard was, kind enough and excited about that project. And so were you, I remember. And so the idea was to find people who were authentically creative or revolutionary or originals or pioneers in their artistic endeavors, and how would that inform our working relationships with clients. It
was so good. Who were some of your favorite guests you brought on?
I think Jeffrey Deitch was interesting because he's always been at the he was always interested in commerce and art and commerce. Neville Wakefield.
That's good.
But these are, this is my personal point of view. There were plenty. I don't have them all.
They were so good. Esther Perel. Yeah.
Esther Perel it was too crazy. There were too many people. It was out of control, and everybody was just drinking her words. So it's
totally. I mean, it's hard to kind of explain to people like this. But Alex created and curated and produced these events in our office, and the office wasn't that big. They were in our library out the back of the office.
With Giles Pattis, yes.
With Giles Pates, whose wife Mitra was the first guest on the pod. So you and Giles, and they attracted, a public crowd, and you got incredible people. It's funny, the first time I saw Esther Perel was in the back of the office, and then the second time I actually ended up seeing her, I bought tickets to her show, on stage in New York, so I was like, wow. And then the other one, which I will never forget, was Jenna Lyons, because obviously that was her coming off the back of J. Crew, obviously way before Housewives.
Yeah.
And do you remember afterwards? Do you remember after her talk?
Oh, I remember the whole night because we ended up at her place.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, with Guillaume also who helped us. And I remember because she asked me to order food. She didn't have anything to eat, and Guillaume and I at her fantastic apartment. And she was like, "Is the food coming, Alex?" I was like, yeah, the food's coming. 30 minutes later, "Is the food coming?" And then only to realize at midnight that I had placed my order after 10, and so the order will come at 8 a.m. The next day. And so I told her, "No, sorry, the food's not coming." So she was like entertaining us for 2 hours for nothing, and like, okay, no food's coming. So Guillaume decided to cook something on the go, and
God, he was hilarious. How's he doing?
He's doing great. Yeah, he's doing great. He's doing a documentary on the Detroit sound, and
very cool. I must have been invited to that after party. I remember it finishing and us being in the library, and we were all really drunk, and I remember smoking ciggies out the window with her.
Yes.
But then you guys and it was you, me, Richard, I think Seb was there, and then you guys all must have gone to the after party, and I mustn't have been invited.
Oh, it wasn't really an after party. We decided we got along so well, and I think we helped or just walked her home because she lives in Soho.
Right.
And for some reason, she invited us for drinks, and then we.
So fun. Yeah. What a time. You've had all these different. You've had so many different aspects of your career. Even I think that's I've always said to you, you're one of the most fascinating people I've met.
Well, thank you.
And I think part of it is because of how curious you are, and how you've dipped your toes into these lots of different aspects that seem to me so polarizing in a way in some aspects.
Yeah.
Did you always have an intention to kind of try all these different things, or did it happen kind of more organically?
It was always my intention to keep separate the science and the art. I believe they are two different worlds, analytical and more intuition-based. Although it might be artificial, they cross-pollinate. But I'm just skeptical of the intersect, and I think it comes. I wanted to have this dual backbone in my life because my mom had a day job, and that was very pretty rigorous working in urbanism and big plans and big bosses and having to big projects, and it's very corporate and serious. But in the evening she would join the table of her drama company, who was not just a small one. It was actually in France it's quite established with Laurent Terzieff, and so she would meet all kind of actors and read texts and poetry and give her point of view on is that a good text, a good material for next play, and so she would go to see the same play maybe 10 times in a row, so that was a little much. But and she was taking this as a job. She was part of the drama company, and so she had a dual.
And so she would go and watch the play multiple times and then provide feedback?
Provide feedback on the actors, on the scenography, with Laurent, the main, the director, and I mean, how do you say? Yeah, director, metteur en scène, and actor. And they will always talk about the next play, who should be the cast and stuff like that. So she was taking this as a job as seriously, and she would work nights and weekends on that.
Wow.
And so I thought, this is possible. You can have actually dual brain.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
How on earth do you explain to people what you do?
I do several things, but on the neuropharmacological side. So I left the academia about 8 years ago, and now I'm back, not in the academia, but in the field of neuropharmacology, pharmacology of nervous system, drug design, understanding how drugs work on receptors and neurons and organisms and things like that. And I got back into that as a consultant during the pandemic for telehealth and the emergence of ketamine. And my friend Gaspar, again, called me. He's like my guardian angel, and also my, little devil.
Devil on your shoulder.
Yeah, both. Yeah. He's on both shoulders.
Those are the best. Those are the best friends.
I agree.
Yeah.
And so he told me, could you help us find if ketamine, which is an emerging drug antidepressant. It was used before as an anesthetic, but now it's emerging as an antidepressant. Could you tell us if we could use that at home? So telehealth meant, just prescribing. That's what Mindbloom was actually doing. So he wanted to piggyback on Mindbloom's model and see if it was possible. So I was, that's how I got back into the field and into the field of psychedelics, which is booming right now. And I would have been a fool not to use 12 years of research on neuropharmacology and just ignore what's happening right now with psychedelics, which is fascinating.
Absolutely.
On the therapeutic side, but also on the almost, I would say, consciousness side. It's opening doors to how we understand consciousness.
I mean, I know we're going to get into your work in a bit more detail, but just can you, even just at a high level, talk to us a little bit about your work?
Yeah, so my work, I'm following developing drugs, which are either psychedelics like DMT or psilocybin, magic mushroom, or LSD. And there are some trials to see if they are safe, if the effects are real. And so some companies that are interested in testing those molecules call me and ask me questions or give me projects on, is this, you think, is the right trial, or is the right protocol, or is the right dosage, or so I just provide feedback on ongoing projects. And the next round will be non-hallucinogenic psychedelics. So this is, involving AI, drug design, and things like that. So
wow. It's so interesting how ketamine is now, because this is all medicinal, right? Usage. It's hard for me to wrap my head around, because when I think of ketamine, I don't know, I'm just taken back to like being 20 something at a festival, it was never my drug of choice, but people around me were taking that, and it just, what I associate that with is people being in a K-hole. People just being like stuck, not able to almost move at the festival. And I was like, there are more fun drugs to like run around with, And so I never got it recreationally. And now, so it's hard for me to wrap my head around, okay, how are people using this medicinally? Like first of all, are there differences between the ketamine you would see at a festival versus what you're taking medicinally? And then what are the benefits of people taking it medicinally?
Listen, I'm not sure about the dose taken recreationally.
Okay, it's a dosage thing, not like...
It's a dosage thing. It's also a purity thing.
Right. That's true. And in Australia, God knows what's getting out there,
Yeah. And but the flow dose, which is the full dose, is when taken on a therapeutic context, is often intravenously or intramuscularly, so the effect is much more potent, much more immediate. There's some risks with heart rate, tachycardia, but so you have to be monitored. It usually lasts 90 minutes. And some people who have experienced depression for 20 years and taken antidepressants for these 20 years, never seeing any improvement, never having only side effects, gaining weight, losing libido, etc., etc. For the first time in their life, they're relieved.
Wow.
And at the beginning, you have, sometimes you have biweekly, twice a week. You need to go to the hospital to get that ketamine treatment. So it's kind of heavy. You can't drive afterwards. It's still a little bit heavy, but then you become more sparse.
And your body builds up immunity?
We don't really understand how it becomes more, sparse yet, but in effect, yes, you start to build. It's like almost like a vaccine where you don't need it as much, and so once a week and then once a month.
This question I'm so fascinated by.
All right, let's go.
So you had all these years in neuro, and then you went into the creative industry, and now you're kind of back. What did all your initial time at Yale and Rockefeller Labs, how did that prepare you for stepping into the creative industry? How did it prepare you for your job at Chandelier, for example?
Oh, it didn't. But I tried to. I tried to see the parallel between.
What's the parallel? Yeah, this is why I'm like, there's got to be some connections.
Yeah, the parallel I was trying to make was that when you are a researcher and you have your bench and you order your own drugs and material and so what you do, you have a performing moment basically, which is the experiment.
Okay.
And it's the same with the event.
Interesting.
And so you prepare the performing moment and you prepare and the weeks leading to that moment, and then it's the day of the experiment and you invested 6 months into that and $50,000 and if you miss it, you're gonna you might never have the opportunity to do it again.
Right.
And your mentor is gonna be too busy with the next postdoc and you'll miss the opportunity window. A bit same with events, and then what do you do after the experiment? You exploit the data. You're trying to give meaning out of that data, and that's exactly what you do with an event. You're trying to place the story to a PR or to a press, and trying to make it matter in a way, or show that it mattered. So that was but it's an artificial comparison because I didn't learn how to make an event in a lab, that's for sure. I just learned how to be ready and how to meticulously prepare. I just think that neuroscience and bench work is a great school, to prepare. You can do anything after that. But I didn't come to Chandelier unprepared because on the side, I was culture editor for opening ceremony.
That's right.
But back when they had a blog, so I was doing studio visits. And
are you still writing? Like you were contributing editor to a bunch of magazines at one point, right?
Yeah, not much. I contribute to Art Forum once in a while.
Art Forum, that's right. Yeah, that's a great one.
And that's
what are you writing about?
Just exhibition that resonate with me, what I like about sometimes has to deal with the supernatural or, some kind of weird beings or creatures.
This just came to me. You gave me this book that I actually have. I should have remembered. It's on my coffee table at home.
Still.
Huh? I mean, maybe I stole it. I think you gave it to me.
Okay.
And it was it's called Like Art.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it was I think it was like, it wasn't published. I think it was like a draft edition because it's stapled with paper and like your notes are all through it.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. That was the draft for the book that Glenn O'Brien published. And so Glenn O'Brien was, was very liberating influence on me, many others. But to me, he was very liberating because he was the one who was desacralizing a little bit the high content from low content. And saying,
can you explain for people who don't know who he is?
Yeah.
Do you want to just explain a little bit?
Sure. Glenn O'Brien is he went to film school in New York to embark on a journey with Andy Warhol to create Interview magazine.
Iconic.
Yeah, he started it, and then he, became best friend with Basquiat and all that. This downtown New York classic figures, and became really like the dandy. He had a column in style column in GQ, so he was super elegant and super underground at the same time, and I think he's the only one who managed to have the high and the low, and that's something I also looked upon because
I can see that influence in you.
Because when you're too high, you become snobbish, and when you're too low, you become a little grimy. So you know how to. But it's interesting. I've always been fascinated by those shortcuts between two, when you can travel between these two worlds, and so he had a column called Like Art,
right,
in Art Forum, where he would write about advertising, and showing how advertising could be seen as an art form in some ways. Again, the high and the low, and it was just his mind was he would make joke and would give a fresh perspective on thing, and he would always liberating and refreshing. Yeah.
And so the notes that are in that book, are they yours or his?
I don't remember that book.
Because
he didn't touch
he passed away, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Like right after that book was made, no?
Almost. He published no, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, I remember him being a big influence. Like I remember him being one of your mentors.
Yeah. He was, yeah.
I should look at that when I get home and see if it's yours or his. I mean, if it's his writing, you can have it back or send it to you.
No, but I think
you can have it back or I'll auction it off. It'll be one of those things.
No, I think it was mine, or it wasn't his, because that we worked on it with his archivist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us more about Cosmic Harp Recordings? This is the home of Chill Wizard, right?
Yes. Cosmic Harp Recordings is a dream I had and I always wanted to explore, which is creating a home for a fantasy, but grounded in professional audio production. And so I need that space, video making, sound making, and trying to find. I have two mentors, Guillaume Jesquier and Raphaël Parpex, who are audio wizards. They are the true wizards, and they really helped me set up my studio. So it's
This is at your home, right, in Brooklyn? You got it set up?
No, it's in Bushwick. So I have a studio.
Space. Okay.
Yeah, and this is where I can experiment and I can create music, but I also want to invite other musicians, and I'm starting to collaborate with other musicians and perform on stage and break free from the mold of the producer in the lab in its submarine. And it's kind of, and again, to failure, it's one of the best way to, from what I understood, to be not immune, but to be resilient, is to confront to the real world, to the audience, and to expose yourself and accept to be vulnerable and make mistakes and learn from it. So, and also songwriting. I think songwriting is fascinating. I love songwriting so much. It's just it's everything I love. I think it's and yeah. So I do that.
Yeah, it's an insight there somewhere around exposure therapy. I think.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
You seem to live at this very interesting intersection of science, art, and consciousness. What has that taught you about personal transformation?
Yeah, I don't know. It's transformation is an ongoing role, and I've decided not to identify with anything really, and just let loose and just follow.
Love that.
Yeah.
So not kind of attaching yourself to any of these identities and just being more
maybe more values.
Attaching yourself to values?
Yeah, more like
okay.
That's just what I fight for, yeah.
What are some of those values?
I make good music, for example. That's a value I want to fight for.
Quality, yeah.
Yeah, no, quality and compassion, I think, is a very interesting value. Truth, honesty, these are fundamental, boring, but fundamental. And that type of stuff.
Yeah. No, I think that makes total sense that you're finding it in art too. Okay. I now want to kind of uncover, get into a few conversations around failure.
Yes.
How do you think about it? Even in general, how do you think about failure? How does it show up in your day-to-day life? Do you have a definition of it? Do you have a way you think about it?
Yes, I mean, I put a lot of challenges on myself, and I fail a lot because I don't meet the expectation and that I set for myself. And I look at myself very often like not achieving enough or not or failing too much. And yes, that's probably the DMN, kicking in. Oh, that's another mechanism, coping and trying to push myself. But yes, my definition of failure would be not meeting your expectation,
So interesting. Almost every single person sitting where you have sat has said this, right? That it is about them setting expectations, like self-imposed expectations that are not met. And so my question is okay.
Prediction error.
What do you mean by that?
It's like you predict something and then there's an error in what you predicted.
Right.
And so you have to adjust to that.
Right. And so is the idea, are our expectations too high, or are they just the right, or are they just right and we're just meant to live a life of failures?
This, I don't know. That's, are we fantasizing or are we trying to navigate the best we can to achieve something? And I think human beings are all fighting for status and and I wouldn't say dominance, but at least trying to get their place in the sun, power and influence, and so that's a big expectation, yeah. And failure to achieve that leads in deflation, loss of motivation.
It's also a little bit of the curse of the high achiever, because everyone I'm speaking to is really, I'm speaking to people who are at the top of their fields, right? And so it's just interesting listening to them because they all have super high expectations of themselves, which is probably half the reason why they are where they are. But then the curse of that is them never really feeling like they've made it and they're never really feeling good enough. Whereas a different person might come along and their expectations are going to be so much lower, and they're like, well, I haven't failed. And it's like, well, maybe your expectations aren't high enough on yourself.
Right.
But I don't have the answer. I'm just, what's the right path? Is there a right path?
Well, there's no right path. I don't think there is.
Yeah.
I don't think there is.
Yeah.
It's just character and fate is intertwined, but the neurobiology of it is interesting. You will have probably different chemicals at work in a high achiever versus someone who's detached and avoidant.
Right.
And
Okay. How do you personally, I know we're going to get into kind of the neuroscience of failure, but how do you relate to failure differently depending on the role you're in? Because it's a really interesting mix when I look at you, because there's artistic endeavors, there's academic endeavors, there's kind of these more corporate professional endeavors.
Yeah.
And do you think about failure differently? Does it sting more if you failed as an artist? Can you even fail as an artist? But then I imagine you can fail an experiment. Or maybe you can't.
Yeah.
Maybe experiment. I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
it's
interesting. Well, the problem with when you decide to have different pots on the fire, that when none of the pots work, when none of the pots are cooking well,
you're hungry.
You're hungry, and you feel like you threw yourself in. You gave yourself in many different ways, and it's not enough, and so you feel less than nothing, really. Because, but it's exhausting to go from one to the other, and so you're thinking, but that's my psyche. I can't. Is this something inherently wrong with the psyche to trying to have a dual, that dual or triple, separation layers? So it can go really deep, really, really quick.
Have you ever experienced that? Like no.
I mean, this is my normal
operating system.
It's like it's not, and then when all three pots, let's say, align, you feel on the top of the world, because you know that very few other people it's your originality, and you're one of the rare to achieve that. So but even when you achieve that, you're like, is this pride, or is this, what's wrong with me? So it's let's not get too deep into my own personality, but it's tricky. Whereas when you have one lane and you know that you're not succeeding, you just need to repeat. That's your lane. Okay, you need to go back on track, and you keep doing what you're doing, and you get back on your horse, and you get. So yeah.
So which option do you feel like has a more comfortable relationship with failure?
That's a good question. Never asked myself that question. I don't know. Failure feels stingy wherever, it's and it stings for a long time. It's hard.
Can you fail as an artist?
Yes.
You can?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
What does that look like when you fail as an artist?
Well, nobody listens to your music, nobody cares about what you do, and you're no one. Yeah.
But is the goal then of the art public recognition?
The goal is to have validation at one point.
Okay.
It has to be. I mean, the first goal is to enjoy and love what you do, but if you're 75 and nobody heard your music, I think I would be sad. Yeah, it's an offering. I mean, it's like cooking. If you cook really well, people are gonna enjoy coming to your place to eat your food, and it's same with music. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Now we're really gonna get into some meaty conversations, which I have no idea what the answer to, so I'm very excited to hear. From a neuroscience perspective, what is actually happening in our brains when we experience failure? Like, why does it feel so painful and personal?
So there's different regions in the brain that have different functions, and one of them is the anterior cingulate cortex. You have the big, let's say, hard drive, which is the cortex, which is where cognition, memory happens, and part of this cortex is the ACC, anterior cingulate cortex. And this region lights up, gets activated when there's a physical pain.
Okay.
Okay, it's part of the brain that, and then distribute the information to others.
Okay, so you touch the hot stove.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's that region that gets activated with emotional pain as well. So pain is, for the brain is, whether it's physical or emotional, is...
It's in the same spot?
Same spot.
Wow.
ACC.
That I didn't know.
That's for painful. Now for personal, is because there are different molecules that are involved in mood regulation, then can get, their levels change. For example, dopamine. Dopamine is associated, is the main actor of the reward system in our brain. When we get a reward, we learn very quickly what led to this reward. What are the cues?
What's an example of that reward?
For example, there's a famous experiment. Well, the Pavlov dog with the bell.
I don't know. That's not what.
No. So the Pavlov had a dog. He made experiments on.
Okay.
And
is this real? Like, there's a real dog?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's called John.
John?
No, I don't.
It's like, oh my God. Okay.
No, but it was no invasive
it's okay.
procedure.
Yeah.
It's just that he gave this dog food. He fed the dog, and when he was feeding the dog, he would ring a bell.
Okay.
Okay, and he realized after he started ringing the bell before feeding the dog, and so he would start to see the dog salivating. So he would know by hearing the bell that food was coming, and that's the cue associated with the reward, and that's where dopamine works.
Oh, wow.
Dopamine happens. It learns the cues that are leading to reward, and that's what's happening with drug addicts. That's why we tell drug addicts, don't go to the same circles. I mean, not drug addicts, but
alcoholics,
ex-drug addicts.
Oh, okay, yeah.
In rehab.
Right.
Don't go to same circles. If you go to the same nightclub you used to do drugs, you will have the dopamine is going to take over, and you'll be like so high, so craving for drugs that we know what will happen.
But are they actually getting the same? So are you saying they're getting the same physical reaction, like the same positive physical reaction, so much so that they could, if they didn't actually take the drug, they would still have a high?
No, they don't take, because the high is also fed by the positive reinforcement that is the drug.
So it's just pushing them to it because they know the feeling that's coming. Yeah.
So if this is the timeline, and you have, this is the bell, happening here, the food here, the food. Well, if you have the bell, peak of dopamine, the food, a little peak of dopamine, just confirming that this here was important. Now, if you have the bell but no food, you have a depletion. You have a dip of dopamine, and that's what happens with failure. There is a dopamine dip because we don't have the reward we expected.
Wow.
And that causes lack of motivation, deflation. That's why it feels personal. And also serotonin, which is another, it's like a molecular cousin of dopamine. It's not very different, but it's involved in different regulations, which more mood regulation.
Serotonin, right? We get that from the sun, right?
No.
I know it comes from drugs, but I thought you could replenish your serotonin by being in the sun.
Oh, maybe vitamin. maybe it lights up your mood. Maybe this is what they
tell you in school, to not take drugs.
Go to the sun. Go to the beach.
That's
don't
what
go to the nightclub.
That's what they're telling us in Australia. Just
no, but
go to the beach.
I said no too quickly. You might be right, actually, but I don't know the exact sequence from sun to vitamin D to serotonin.
Okay. Wait, can we try and lay the dog bell example onto like a work context?
Work context. You know that every time your boss texts you, see you for drinks, you know that she's going to give you the new project or give you a rise in salary.
Okay.
Okay. And so you get the text, you're like, every time the dopamine is going to hit during that text. At first, it hit for the first time you meet her for drinks, or he, and it gives you a rise. Mm-hmm. That's where the dopamine kicks in. Mm-hmm. But afterwards, if you start noticing a pattern, then you transfer to the cue itself, which is the text message you receive.
Wow.
And then that's going to be the excitement. The excitement is by the Christmas tree. When you're waiting for the present, that's where the dopamine is at its highest. Mm-hmm. Okay, you open the presents, you have a little dopamine and you're happy, but the excitement was actually before, The joy of getting ready for a party is sometimes higher than the party itself. Yeah.
It's so true. Like getting ready with your girlfriends to go out is usually more fun than going out. It's true. The night before Christmas is always more fun. It's like the anticipation. But the work context is so wild to me because I'm actually thinking, I mean, this is so inside baseball, but when we worked together at Chandelier, and just for everyone, there was like a big open floor office space, and then there was this library that we said we had these events in. And it was the same, Richard, who owned the company, would kind of he worked in the library and we worked outside, and, he would kind of summon people into the library, right? It'd be the same. He'd be like, Alex, meet me in the library. And when you got called into the library, that was, you were usually being asked, you're either, being put on a project, or you were asked your opinion on something, or you were getting pulled in on some sort of insider something that was happening. So it's true that like that bell is almost like the call into the library. But it's true because not everything. Sometimes that was good, and sometimes the call into the library was like, so it's not only wasn't dopamine. Good. It was like, you're fired. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But it was like, it was mostly good until there was the bad moments in there too, just like every company. But
yeah. And actually, uncertainty increases dopamine.
Uncertainty
increases dopamine levels.
Increases dopamine positively.
Yes.
Explain that.
So I
thought it'd be the opposite. If it was uncertain, you'd be stressed.
It is also stress, but the dopamine is at its highest when there's still a chance of not getting that.
But there's still hope.
There's hope, but it's not 100% sure. That's how the brain adapts to new potential reward. The reward has to be predicted. It's not assured. If the reward becomes assured, then dopamine is like, I'm not interested in this anymore.
Okay, you're blowing my mind right now, because this, I'm glad we're having you and then also the therapist later. I'm excited to unpack my life. I have found that in my career, I have been always attracted to role companies, but also roles within companies in periods of time that were in major periods of transition or uncertainty. And in a way, like, I think I was really good at working within the uncertainty and working within the chaos. Like, I'm really good at finding the calm in that chaos. Mm-hmm. And I've been trying to square. You don't think so? You're like, I have some feedback for you. Whatever. I was super calm. Yeah, I was so calm. That's hilarious. And obviously I'm different path now, but I've always been trying to square that. Like, is that a childhood thing? Like, what is that? Of why I kept getting drawn to these roles. And I've never thought about it through the lens of that could actually be some sort of chemical high that I'm chasing, of like the uncertainty, like I'm thriving in it. I thought it was maybe a childhood thing.
I couldn't say, but I know that for dopamine, the highest high is the one of gambling addiction. It's dopamine related.
And I don't gamble. I don't gamble, just for the record.
You don't gamble.
And maybe I gamble with my career.
But they show that the dopamine peak is at its highest when there is a 50% chance of winning.
50-50.
Yes. Dopamine is not peaking when you are about to win. Dopamine is peaking when it's like you
could lose it all.
You could lose it all. So there is this excitement.
What does that say about us?
It says that we have to read really well the signals that are gonna predict success. And we have to be on our toes.
How do we do that?
Well, dopamine does it for you. There are different characters and different neuropharmacological profiles that react differently to failure. But before we dive into these profiles, I think we should talk about serotonin a little bit, because serotonin and dopamine, they're really two sides of character.
Yeah.
And there are other molecules as well. But serotonin is super interesting because it's, again, same family as dopamine and adrenaline. Adrenaline, moments of stress, and moments of memory too. Your first skydive, you will remember.
Remember that.
Right? I mean, I don't know if you
skydived. Yeah.
If you did, but I say skydive because it's typically adrenaline high and vivid memory. You really.
I remember jumping out of the plane.
And that's what adrenaline does. Dopamine is more
afterwards,
reward related, on the path to success. Adrenaline is more on the path to risk, right? And so different memories in the making. And serotonin, third of the family, is deals more with self-esteem and sense of status and belonging with the group. As a species, our evolution is highly collaborative. So serotonin is an indicator of that. So if you feel like you belong in a group, if you feel like you have a role, a strategic role in a group, that your self-esteem is tied to that, your serotonin levels probably high.
Wow.
Or and so someone depressed, disengage, it's going to disengage, and it's going to have low levels of serotonin. But these are correlations. They are not cause or effect. So
hang on. I just want to make sure I'm following. We've got like a triangle right now, right? We've got dopamine, adrenaline, and serotonin, right? And they're all working together.
At the same time, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and what happens in someone experiences failure, that his or her self-esteem is crashing because there's, a dip in serotonin. I mean, it's still early, too early to say that there's a dip every time. It's very context dependent, but some research suggests that there is a dip in serotonin in some instances, and that, we understand that it's loss of self-esteem. You think you use less, kind of feeling deflated as well. So dopamine dip, serotonin dip, and then cortisol. You have a peak of cortisol, which is the stress hormone that releases in your bloodstream. So it feels like you feel like threatened. Failure feels like threatening. It feels like a threat, basically. We've been wired to react to failure because it's a survival threat. It's a threat on your belonging to the group. You're supposed to, belong to the group for survival. And so cortisol, threat, ACC, pain, serotonin, dopamine, a personal sense of.
And how do you explain how everyone, everyone's obviously got different levels of all of these?
Yeah.
Right. And
so we can think of
because
profiles.
Some people, right. Okay. I'd be curious to get, maybe that will help me map it out visually. Like the different
for example,
profiles.
you take the two end of the spectrum, which funny enough, is the villain and the hero.
Okay.
The villain is, very ego driven and has high cortisol.
And cortisol is the stress
hormone.
Stress hormone.
It's gonna react like very like breaking something, Dark Vader, like suffocating people. I mean, but not to that extent.
But what's that in a work context?
Well, it can be yelling.
Right.
It can be...
That's like the high pressure, stressful,
yes.
egotistical, maybe narcissistic boss.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's exactly this.
Okay. And that person has high cortisol?
High cortisol level, serotonin low, dopamine erratic.
Okay.
Not well regulated. And so I want some kind of reward satisfied, and then something else, and then
like chasing short-term dopamine.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like a drug addict.
Yes, except the drug addict is going to have it for good, at certain... It's
going to get appeased.
The drug addict is kind of self-medicating.
Right.
It's...
but isn't the angry kind of boss also doing that with maybe they're getting their hit from having power over people, or...
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
Okay.
And then...
So I've got the crazy boss on one side.
Yes, so we said low serotonin, high cortisol, erratic dopamine, and oxytocin. We didn't talk about oxytocin, which is the kind of the love hormone, which is not the belonging to the group, but more the affiliation. Feeling you're part of a family in a way, your work family. You feel like you bond, and the oxytocin levels are obviously in the ego-driven villain low.
Low. They have less. They need the community less. They need the family less.
Right. They are more driven by their own
themselves
ego.
Yeah.
Okay. On the other hand, you have the mastery. Driven, or the growth driven character, who is most likely the hero, who will fail. He or she will learn from their failures, and that's usually cortisol can be high or moderate. Again, this is purely speculative.
No, it's super helpful to visualize
but it's just helping to give a little bit of a meaning to these molecules.
Yeah.
So cortisol can be high or can be more moderate. How do you regulate your cortisol levels? That's a good question to look into. Serotonin will be high.
So that's the happy hormone, right?
Self-esteem.
Yeah. Self-esteem's high.
Belonging with the group. Good intelligence.
Yeah.
Basically, strategic partnership. Good trust. Dopamine is moderate, self-regulates. It's not high, it's not erratic, it's not low deflated. It's just you can postpone reward. You don't need reward, immediate reward all the time. You can postpone gratification. And oxytocin is high too, because you have this sense of moderate or high. You don't need like a high. You don't need like to be like a loving, caring figure all the time, but you just have a healthy relationship with that.
Because it might help. Give us like our villain and our hero.
Yeah.
How are they each experiencing failure?
The villain will experience failure, will externalize failure. So he will not take it as personal, but it will always be someone else's fault. Yeah.
I mean, everyone has met that person.
Yeah. And we've been that person at one point.
That's a good thing to point out. Because my question for you as well is like we're talking about these two people as like different people, but like can that be the same person?
Exactly.
I mean, I do think some people are more hardwired into one of those, but I think everyone probably has a little bit of each.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the
and being an artist is hard to. I think that's a theory of mine, but I think artists are more on the Luciferian side because they have to be the greatest, and you can't tell an artist, they have to be the greatest. That's the fuel of their artistry. So it's
and
hard
I think it's also creative directors would fit into that too, right? Like you have to, that's something I've always been curious about is, to a certain extent in creative environments, whether that's in advertising, film, fashion, whatever, you need, if you're someone who's coming up with ideas and selling those ideas in for other people to critique and judge and decide whether they're good enough. I mean, talk about a vulnerable process. You're like pulling things out of you that are really emotional and having other people critique them. I think the pulling them out of you is going to require a level of ego, but to think that like these are worthy. But then the critiquing and the feedback can really, because there is such a big ego, it can damage their self-worth quite easily, right? And then it's like that idea of like the fragile ego. And I feel like creative industries are full of those people.
Yeah. And how do the villain and the hero react to failure? The villain or the ego-driven character, he doesn't use failure as data. He uses
they don't learn from it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They repeat the same mistake over
because they
and
don't
over
think
and
it's
over.
their fault.
Exactly.
It's everything else around them, so I'm just going to keep doing the same thing until
and they
what?
lash out.
Until what? Until
their destruction.
Until their destruction.
Yeah. I mean, that's what the tales and the fairy tales and the movies tell us, that, and that's probably how religions also, thesis of is to try to steer clear from destructive behaviors that are ego-driven and trying to learn from like heroes do.
Yeah, and how does our hero experience failure?
He or she's gonna get back on their horse and learn from that setback to come back stronger.
Strong growth mindset.
Growth mindset.
Do they take accountability?
Yes.
Take responsibility, take accountability.
True look at yourself.
Yeah.
And not,
This is fascinating. Yeah. So obviously, someone's going to be listening to this. Well, first of all, this is what I've always found. Like the people that are the villains, they also, I imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, have zero self-awareness. So they don't understand they're the villain. It's like even my line of working, the people that need the coaching the most don't have self-awareness that they need the coaching. It's like the people that need therapy the most. It's like we all go to therapy for the people around us who refuse to go to therapy,
Yeah, like sponges.
If someone's listening to this, you're going to be like, first of all, no one's going to identify with the villain because we'll all think we're the hero, but or maybe you're like, okay, maybe I have a little bit of that, or I'm somewhere in the middle. Obviously, everyone's going to want to be asking, how do I become the hero? So is there a way that we can hack this, or is this nature, is this nurture, like all these things that you've talked about around like dopamine and serotonin, and like how do we hack it?
You can find my consulting fees on my website.
Sorry. Can you give us high level?
No.
Can you hack it? Sounds like you can for a fee. No, I'm joking.
Well, it's a shift on mindset. It's really from moving from a refusal to learn to an openness, flexibility to learn. It's really about learning. Your theme of failure in the creative industry, I think, is very interesting because in the creative industry, we are focused on success. And success might happen or it might not. But the thing is, it's still success that matters to us. Whereas, do you know any agency where they say, oh, we like success, but we're more interested in the process? No. But it is the process.
Yes.
That we're supposed to be interested in. If we want to learn, it's the process. But you will never have, in an agency, someone, oh, don't worry, it's the process. No, because it's how it's built, and I think it starts there. Maybe just to understand that we celebrate success. It's a great thing, but maybe sometimes remind that. It's actually for the long run. We're just learning and learning.
Okay, so the big takeaway then for people would be to adopt more of kind of a learning growth mindset, which is kind of interesting because it almost ties back to your work as a scientist. Adam Grant has that. He talks a lot about leadership. You should act more like a scientist in leadership, where you should be kind of doing lots of experiments all the time and seeing what works and then learning from those experiments and then repeating instead of going in and saying, this is what we're doing. I know exactly what we're doing. So a similar conclusion I think you've landed on.
Yeah, because success is not about making things right away. It's about trying to, I think, using all your failures.
It also just makes me think that, our relationship with failure, it sounds like, is not just shaped by our emotional state. It's shaped by our physical state, because some of these things as well, like dopamine, serotonin, adrenaline, from what I know about those things, they're impacted as well by external factors, right? There's kind of our baseline, but then, how stressed is this person? Are they taking, do they take a bunch of recreational drugs? Like, what's their lifestyle choices? So that's kind of interesting to me too. If you want to be kind of more comfortable with failure and navigate it easier, it's like it's almost like a mental and physical fitness that you need.
Yes, and there are tricks. Exposure to therapy, reflecting on your past failures, and what you learn from them, journaling your failures actually, or there's things you can do for sure.
Do you have before we jump into the quickfire, do you have any advice for leaders? And keep in mind, these are, the audience is probably senior leaders, we're talking like director and above into the C-suite. Do you have any advice to them around how to navigate failure and how to bounce back from it?
I mean, seeing a leader, I remember my mentors, and seeing them failing and react gracefully to it is actually a huge moment. I mean, a fascinating moment to see them quarterback and see how they can respond gracefully to that is in itself a very informative moment.
What did that do for you when you saw that?
I just feel how it's like personality. It's a form of personality of
Of strength.
Yeah, of strength, and it doesn't need to be in control.
Yeah,
and when you see that stiffness, like, I don't say that, or this is no, and it relaxes everybody. I think too.
I think the vulnerability. Someone to show vulnerability in failure, but then not sit, you want to show vulnerability, but you can't sit in the space too long. You will also then need to show the comeback, I think. And that's what you're saying, the bouncing back, doing it with grace. And then that's kind of the swing, I think, that shows the strength in the comeback as well.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Alex, this has been so, I mean, I knew it would be amazing. I knew it would be fascinating. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I mean,
welcome. Yeah.
I've learned so much about it. I'm sure everyone else will. I have a few quickfire questions. Get ready. Have a glass of water.
Okay.
No, they're fine. Okay, there's 10 of them. So the first one is, do you think failure is a chemical process or spiritual teacher?
I think both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What's one thing most people get wrong about psychedelics?
That it's a hippie thing.
What thing is it? If it's not a hippie thing, what thing is it? If there was a word to describe that.
It's medicine.
Medicinal thing, okay. Describe your career in one word.
Experimentation.
Oh, that's good. What is the opposite of failure?
Success is an easy one, but opposite of failure, boredom.
Wow, love that. One creative project you're dying to make happen.
I wanted to do a concert in a Pentecostal church, with a cult. I'm working on that.
I love it. Please invite me when that happens. When are you at your most creative?
I don't know. I'm still trying to find out. I took a little synth with me on the weekend, and I composed on the train, and that was great. So, and then when I go to the studio and trying to have 4 hours, it's not the same. So I'm still trying to find out if is it in the morning or in the afternoon. I'm trying different stuff. So
love that.
maybe when I'm relaxed, I think it's better.
What's a leadership trait you admire but don't naturally embody?
What's a leadership trait?
You admire but don't naturally embody.
Oh. Discipline.
You're not disciplined? You seem pretty disciplined to me.
Yeah.
But I can see that actually. You're working.
I'm more a goofy. I think I'm more a goof than a
actually.
disciplined person. But I love to see someone that's very,
Yeah, you got a lot of things going on at one time.
Mm-hmm.
How much mushroom chocolate is safe to eat?
Well, depending on the recipe. But I think 2.
2 pieces?
I think so.
At a time?
Yeah.
Good to know.
No,
Asking for a friend.
2 is too much, I think. Yeah. Don't
I was like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
This is my final question. What do you wish more business leaders understood about the mind?
That it's poetic.
What do you mean by that?
That business leaders want results and data and plans and I understand that, but maybe there are other ways that can be as quick, maybe quicker, which can be poetic ways, just a metaphor or sometimes something that's a little esoteric or a little, not in the notebooks, not in the playbook, let's say. And when they take you up on it, I think it's great. When it works, it's great. When it doesn't, then it's a crash. But so just open-minded. Yeah, I remember my auditioning for my thesis. I came back from a year in Latin America when I worked with a shaman on medicinal plants, and the neuropharmacologists who were there were like laughing. They were like, "Why are you coming here? You should go back to Latin America. Do your field studies." But one guy was actually asking questions, and he was like, "Talk to me about it. I'm interested. What does it mean?" And he became my mentor for after. So he was open-minded. He understood that there was maybe something interesting in what I was doing, although it was on the symbolic level. When I said poetic, but maybe I should have said symbolic. It's more symbolic. It's not necessarily scientific. And to be able, to connect different realm of that's...
Be open-minded. I mean, that's great advice. That's a great note to end on. I feel like it summarizes kind of our whole conversation, being open-minded to new ideas, new experiences, new ways to think about leadership and failure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Elena. It was fun.
That's good.
All right.
Thank you. If you liked this episode, please hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. While you're at it, please drop a comment and let me know what resonated with you. I'd love to hear your take. And as always, I'd be so unbelievably grateful if you could share your favorite episode with a friend. It really is the only way an independent podcast like this can be discovered.